Welcome, everybody, to the Santa Cruz Works New Tech September 1, 2021. I am your host, Doug Erickson, and with me, we have the delightful Melina and Matthew. Please say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
They are delightful. And we also have a lot of delightful sponsors. Melina, what do you want to say about them?
Yeah, we have so many that I can't read them all off right now, but I just wanted to say we are so grateful to each and every one of you. And a quick shout out to our newest sponsor, Booster Consulting. You'll be hearing a little bit about them throughout this next month or so.
Heck, yeah. Of course, we can't do this without you, our members. So if you're interested, please check out our website. By the way, tomorrow in our newsletter, we're going to announce a $1 million perks upgrade for members and partners. So you might want to check it out. It's a good time to join at www.santacruzworks.org.
And just a couple of rules and reminders. You can hear and see us, but we cannot hear or see you. So please use the chat if you want to ask any questions or if you want to have conversation. And just FYI, this webinar is being recorded for future reference.
Hey, we have some amazing events coming up. On the 9th, Zendesk is going to present a 30-minute clinic on best practices for customer success. We also have, I think it's the 4th year now of Startup Investment and Community Capital Expo by CSUMB. A fascinating event called Think Big with Dave Evans, Designing Your Life. That's through Santa Cruz Office of Education and Santa Cruz Works. If you've ever wondered about what should I be doing with all these career changes in my life, this is the one to view. It's going to be fantastic. And, later in October, we will have an e-transportation event. Stay tuned for that. There's also the DART Symposium. I think that's the 3rd year for that. You'll want to keep track of that. It's all on our website in our calendar. But I have even more exciting news. Well, and that is on September 30th, end of the month here, the 4th cohort of the Santa Cruz Accelerates launch party. It's going to be at a really nice outdoor location. We'll also be streaming it as well. So if we've moved on from COVID alpha, beta, delta to zeta by then, you might want to view everything online, but it's going to be really fantastic. And we have a huge surprise for that event. And as you see there, the hint is Joe Ben, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Stephen Colbert. What could it possibly be? I hope you guys will all stay tuned. You'll learn more about that soon.
Okay, and then for tonight's program, we have a pretty sweet lineup. We have a couple of announcements from Jane Technologies, Pitch Hub, followed by a little update on Santa Cruz City's water department from Rosemary Menard. And just FYI, we'll be having a short Q&A for Rosemary. And then from there, we'll hear from 6 different companies, and we'll end up with another Q&A as well.
So let's start with Socrates. Hey, what do you want to tell us, Socrates?
Hey, Doug. Hi, everyone. To the broader Santa Cruz tech community. It's great to kind of virtually see you all again. But big announcement coming from our company that was started and has grown here really since 2016. We raised just recently our Series C. It was a $100 million round, which is fantastic. I think it's a testament to the hard work of our team, half of whom lives here and grew up here and works here. Still, we're remote right now, but we do have an office on Pacific Ave. I think it's a testament to the cannabis industry as a whole that we're now starting to see some real venture capital move into the space, which is promising to continue to advance this industry forward and hopefully protect the integrity of it. And I think it's a testament to just the Santa Cruz tech ecosystem here. What Doug and Matt and the broader team has put together, years of hard work, and we were a benefit of that. I remember my first tech meetup when Jane was just an idea and such an inspiration to just be around folks like the people on this call. So very excited to continue to put Jane on the map, advance the cannabis industry, and put Santa Cruz on the map. It already is, but we feel very honored to have a seat at the table and continue to give back to this community and see where this next chapter takes us. So thanks so much, guys, and thank you, Doug, for having me on.
Thank you. Boy, have you really had a fantastic journey, and heck, we're just so happy to have been able to share portions of it with you. So keep charging there, Socrates.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it, man.
Right. Andrew, I think you're up next.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey guys. Yeah, Andrew with PitchHub. I'm the CEO. And you know what, that actually, what Socrates just said there too, like Doug and Matthew and everybody at Santa Cruz Works has been phenomenal. Several years ago, I pitched my idea to the new tech, to the new tech industry down here. And we just got a lot of people that were very encouraging. And I've got a slide in a second we can go through that I just kind of want to do a shout out. But basically from that tech meetup, we met a lot of people in one industry that really begged for what we were doing was real estate. And a couple of months ago, we were approached by the California Association of Realtors, and they were like, we love your platform. We love what you're doing. You really help our agents get online with video. And so they started to use our platform internally for their business applications. They loved it so much that they wanted to invest, not only provide our service to the 200,000 members. We've got probably the biggest real estate membership on the planet, really. And so, so they invested 50% of our pre-seed round, so 750K. Now we get to build out PitchHub in Santa Cruz. We just opened an office down in 223 River Street. And then on Fridays, what we do is we help people get online with video, right? We help you increase your business with video. So if you want to come down on Fridays and pitch your ideas, not really pitch your ideas, but bring your ideas of what you'd like to do on video, and we can definitely brainstorm with you and show you how to increase your business with video. So we'll have these brainstorming sessions on Friday. So hit me up. I'm sure you can find me somewhere. And then just real quick to the next slide, if you could. So this is the guy who came out of the first tech meetup. His name is Tobin Schaefer. He introduced us to so many people with nothing, wanting nothing in return. And he's really been very helpful. He introduced us to the COO, who ended up being the CEO of Intero. And the CEO of Intero is one of our friends and family round of investors too. So I just want to say thank you to Tobin. And again, thank you to everybody here in the Santa Cruz community. We cannot wait to build a multi-billion-dollar company like Socrates is doing with Jane. So, and do it in Santa Cruz. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Andrew. And you too, keep charging. Everything is looking great in terms of what you guys are doing there. So we're very thankful for the work you're doing here for our community.
You're welcome.
And next, Rosemary, I'm going to stop the share here. Turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. Here we go. All righty, there we go. I thought maybe today I would give you a very quick update on the water shortage. I think that's probably the most topical thing in front of everybody here. And I thought maybe we could do that in a relatively quick way. Doug knows he spent a day with us recently going through the water system. So this is not a topic that is easy to cover in 5 minutes, but I'm going to give you a little, I'll give you a little forecast of where we are and what we're doing about it. So Loch Lomond is right now it's about 23 feet below full. It's about a little bit less than 60%. What we're always worried about with Loch Lomond is another dry year after this one. And we know that about a third of the customers, residential customers mostly, who are with allocations are struggling to meet the stay within their allocation. And that is not because they're bad citizens. It's because we have a really, really conserving community and we're asking them to do more, and it's hard. So our problem really is this issue associated with limited storage. We do have some other issues, a lot of supply variability I'm going to talk to you about in a minute. We do make a big commitment to maintaining fish flows in all of our sources. So that's a huge commitment that's very aligned with our sort of environmental and conservation oriented population and the value system here. We have a threat of seawater intrusion in our groundwater resources that we're managing collaboratively with a lot of other agencies. And I think we're doing pretty well about that, but it does, constrain our operation, at least in the near term. But of these, really the limited storage that we have in Loch Lomond, which is our only reservoir, is really the key problem. And conservation alone cannot solve this problem. So it's a huge issue. We can't get there by just doing less with, use less. I'm looking for my, there we go. So I want to talk to you a little bit while we're talking about variability, about just the last 9 or 10 years of the water supply. We do this thing where we track the total annual discharge of the San Lorenzo River system. And you can see that since 2009, we've had, many dry years, like it seems like one every other one. We've only had 2 normal years, and we've had 2 really wet years. And the problem, and we've had a number of critically dry ones, 2014 was one, but the real problem is when you get this situation. You get a dry followed by a critically dry. This year is a critically dry year. That's like the 4th driest year on record, and our records go back nearly 100 years. So this is a big deal for us because it particularly challenges our lack of carryover storage in our single reservoir. So I want to tell you sort of what happens if we add a 3rd dry year after these various ones. We're not predicting any of these are going to happen, but we're looking at what if scenarios in terms of total reservoir volume. And you can see that in 1977, which is our worst year on record, we get down to about 10%. That's not a good place for us to be. The 2014 is the next driest year. 77 is another dry year in this sort of 76. I chose these as examples of ones where there's sort of 15,000 acre feet of discharge, 20,000 acre feet of discharge, and about 25,000. And the only one that really sort of helps us is that even all still critically dry, but has about almost 30,000 acre feet of critically dry storage. So it doesn't have to rain like hell to get us this, but it has to rain a lot more than it has this last winter or the winter before, for that matter. So that's kind of, forecasting, and it helps us to really focus our attention on what we're trying to do in the short term and in the long term to solve the problem. So the problem we're solving is actively exploring aquifer storage and recovery, ASR, in either the Mid-County Groundwater Basin in the Soquel Aptos area that we share with them through Live Oak, or in the Santa Margarita Groundwater Basin, which is up in the watershed area of Scotts Valley, San Lorenzo Valley Water District, Boulder Creek, Felton area. And what the idea there is, you take water when it's available in the wintertime, you treat it to drinking water standards, you deliver it to that area, and then you put it in the ground through injection. And then it stays there, and when you go back and get it when you need it for drought supply. The similar kind of idea is using advanced treated recycled water to do the same kind of thing. That's called indirect potable reuse, or IPR. And we've done a lot of work on both of these. We've been at this looking at, supply projects and the implementation strategies associated with those projects for close to 5 years now. And we're intending to make a recommendation to the community and the city council about what the solution is to our water supply reliability problem next year. And in the short term, we do have some possibilities of, if we have any kind of precip this year that gives us water to put in the ground, of using the test wells, the pilot test wells we've done in the Mid-County Basin to collect some and store some water this winter that will help our situation next year. And then my final slide here is to just sort of give you a little bit of a sense of where things are with respect to some of the sort of criteria that we're looking at to evaluate these alternatives. you can see that the aquifer storage and recovery in the Mid-County groundwater basin is the least expensive of these options. That's because we already have the infrastructure to treat the water and deliver it to those wells, and to take it from those wells and put it back into the system. IPR in the Mid-County groundwater basin uses a different source of supply that has to be treated through an advanced wastewater treatment plant. Soquel Creek is currently working on one of those at the Chanticleer and Soquel Avenue, I believe, on the south side of the freeway. And there is capacity in that plant potentially to expand it that would help us to use some of that advanced treated recycled water in the Mid-County groundwater basin. And it's most expensive to do it up in the Santa Margarita groundwater basin because we don't have infrastructure to take treated water or treated wastewater up the hill. That project is has a price tag of about $200 million, but it also has the potential to have a number of partners, which would mean it would benefit more than just Santa Cruz. One of the big issues is a diversification of water supply. So more development of surface water that we are currently so dependent on is the least helpful in terms of diversifying our supply. Moving towards advanced treated wastewater or in either one of the basins improves that, because wastewater is a pretty stable commodity regardless of what's going on with the climate and the precip. So that's one of the things that we're looking at. And certainly we're also looking at how to use some of the infrastructure funding at the state and federal level for water projects to see what we can do to solve these problems and get some money in here to help us with the construction of these facilities. And I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Rosemary. We do have a few questions. And again, if you have a question for Rosemary, please put it in the Q&A. This will probably just take a couple minutes here. First question, do we know if our groundwater can sustain us if we have another dry year?
The groundwater resource is a lot more resilient to droughts than the surface water resources. They typically experience the effects of drought, and it takes them longer, and then takes them longer to recover. So the answer to that question is yes. We're pretty sure we can do that with the existing groundwater resources. We do need to plan for sustainability of those over the long haul, and we do have plans in both basins to do that.
Okay, thank you. Next question, and excuse me, you might have answered this at the very end of your presentation, but I got distracted. Is it time to reconsider desalination solution?
So the thing about desal is it's most expensive, but also you don't have to put it someplace. So you don't have to develop, groundwater storage infrastructure or some other place to put it. And there is something to be said for that. But I think at least in the Santa Cruz community, one of these other options is much more likely to be acceptable. I do think over time, we likely are looking at some kind of long-term development of all of these options.
Okay, thank you. And last question, what can and should we be doing besides the normal conservation to help the current water shortage? And I think what they're asking about is just like individually, what should each and every one of us be doing?
Right. So we do have resources on our website that helps you do an audit of your own household use. And to look at those opportunities, there's quite a bit of information that says, shortening your showers is a really good example of one of the kinds of things that you can do. Certainly people are collecting their shower water or their water in their kitchen sink when going from cold to hot, putting it out on their plants. These are the kinds of things that really we've seen people do. But actually a lot of these habits were adopted in the last drought in 2014, 2015, and people have maintained these activities all the way through the many years between that drought and this one. And so as a result, in a lot of ways, it's keep doing what you've been doing is the best thing to do.
Okay, thank you. A couple of good questions came in there. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'm just going to ask one more.
Okay.
This is from David Apgar. Does the lack of storage infrastructure mean that we shouldn't build more affordable housing, however badly needed?
No, the issue in our situation is supply variability. It's not demand. The demand will grow roughly in 25 years in the projections we have from a very low level, quite a bit lower than any time in history for 50 or 60 years. The demand will grow about 16% in 25 years. The supply variability between the best case scenario under climate change and the worst case scenario is 225%. So it's supply variability that is our problem. And putting off additional affordable housing development does not, it's not going to make the size of the supply project we have to build to give us reliability. It's not going to change the size of that, and probably only marginally will change the cost of it.
Oh, great. Thank you. And good question, David. Okay, well, we are out of time. Rosemary, if you can go in the chat or Q&A, there's a couple other questions if you want to pop in there, but thank you very much. And we will move it on to Doug and Melina.
Thanks for the opportunity to talk with you all.
Great. Thank you again, Rosemary. That's very informative. And I think the tour that you took us on was just eye-opening. Really appreciate it, everything that you're doing for our community. And here we go. We are going off to talk to Will with Seeds Renewable. Hey, how you doing, Will?
Hey, Doug. Hey, and do you mind if I share screen here for a minute? I think this will be really well timed following Rosemary's presentation here. So I'd like to think that I can, hopefully offer a solution here. So thank you everybody for your time here. As a Santa Cruz native, and after a few years in Europe, finishing a master's in renewable energy engineering, it's great to be home here and to meet the local entrepreneurial community. Thank you, Doug, and the Santa Cruz Works team for arranging this opportunity. My name is Will, and I'm CEO of Seeds, and I'm happy to take you through the progress that we've made in making every transaction an investment in climate action. So first, I'd like to start with the high-level problem. Eco-anxiety is on the rise, and people feel like their future is out of their control. There's a growing feeling of helplessness, and unfortunately, right now, most people are bystanders. Now enter Seeds, a climate-focused retail investment app connecting climate-concerned investors with profitable and sustainable assets. With Seeds, every time you use your credit card, you're automatically investing your spare change into these projects, making fighting climate change easier than ever before. First, you pick a project. Next, you set the roundup to automatically invest the spare change from your everyday purchases into crowdfunding that project. Now, you can sit back and watch your investments and impact grow. Climate change is a capital problem. Seeds provides a chance to flip the framing of climate change from all about sacrifice to opportunity. By giving everybody a chance to share in the benefits of the energy transition, we can shift the public from neutral bystanders into active stakeholders. Sustainable infrastructure is a $55 trillion opportunity, while a recent report shows that millennials will control $30 trillion by 2020. Employing that well of capital can help significantly close the funding gap that we need to save our planet. So our entry niche is to target community solar projects, which are showing very promising sustained growth and gaining more development commitments every day. So first of all, our TAM is the required $5 trillion a year of additional investment needed to meet the Paris Climate Accord. Then our SAM is $600 billion a year, which is a community solar market in 2031 if it continues at these current growth rates. Then our SOM is $1.25 billion a year, which I calculated using a top-down and bottom-up methodology, which finally results in $121 million a year in revenue for Seeds. To validate our solution, last month we crowdfunded $2,720 to help build a solar array in Kenya. We further validated this idea with a wait list for our product launch, which currently has over 400 investors on it. And then to build an ideal customer persona, Seeds has conducted 76 customer interviews. So Seeds is an example of right place, right time. So in March of this year, the SEC just increased the ceiling for regulated crowdfunding from $1 million up to $5 million. And that's key considering the amount of money you need for renewable energy. So Seeds had previously been building in the EU, but after seeing this change, we took a second look at our market and noticed a mismatch between between EU population centers, environmental concern, and credit card usage. So for example, before, Germany was the largest population center and highly environmentally conscious, but they never use their credit cards. And then flip, Sweden, on the other hand, uses their credit cards for everything, and they're highly environmentally conscious, but they're only 10 million people. Now, in comparison, in the US, you can see we have a 10x larger market, fewer competitors, one regulator, and one primary language. So on our business model, on the B2C side, pardon me, we have a $1 a month freemium model. Our premium subscription gives you access to higher return on investment projects, as well as we show you the environmental impact of your investments. On the B2B side, we take a success fee, application fee, and loan servicing fee. Down the line, we also plan to launch a climate card, which is a climate-focused credit card running on a global carbon neutral payment railway being built by a currently stealth mode company we're collaborating with. So then our marketing plan will leverage in-app incentives for affiliate marketing as a way to use our network of sustainable brands, of which we had already recruited 15 in the EU. Next comes our impact. So starting in the middle, you can see our emissions impact over the next 10 years. The nearly $3 billion of investments generated from just spare change over that period will avoid nearly 30 million tons of CO2. That's the same as 3.3 billion gallons of gas or planting nearly 500 million trees. So even at a more localized level, community energy helps lower power costs, reduce local pollution, stimulates local economies while creating local jobs. On top of all of this, Seeds is simultaneously contributing to 5 out of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So in conclusion, I'd like to ask you to join us on this journey. So Seeds is looking for business angels who are interested in investing in a 350K pre-seed round, which I'm opening at the end of September. We need an additional software engineer, and for anyone else to sign up on the wait list so that when we launch in Q2 22, you can join us. So thank you.
I'm pretty darn excited about this, as you already know, Will. So I really appreciate what you're doing, and right time, right place, right Santa Cruz too. So thank you so much, and we will be in touch because I'm talking to VCs to help you out as well. So fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug. Genuinely appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. And Melina, who do we have up next?
Up next, we have RealSeq, which is a bioscience company.
Well, first, I would like to thank Doug and everyone at Santa Cruz Works for giving us the opportunity to talk about RealSeq Biosciences. So we're going to change directions a little bit from the 2 previous presentations. So we're an RNA detection company. And our idea is that we want to take our basic research work into point-of-need testing. So my name is Sergio Barberán Soler. I was born in Mexico City, and I came to the US to UC Santa Cruz to study a master's and then a PhD in molecular biology. And then I went to Barcelona to do a postdoc, also working on RNA and detecting RNA. And then that brought me back to Santa Cruz, where I work at a company called Somagenics, a small biotech company here in Santa Cruz, also detecting RNA. So in all, I have around 20 years of experience with detecting RNA. And in 2019, me together with Ann Schultz, which is the COO of RealSeq Biosciences, Brian Johnston and Sergei Kasakov, we decided to found RealSeq Biosciences. So the idea is I bring the RNA experience into the company, and Ann brings the business experience. She has close to 20 years of experience in life sciences and also in venture capital experience. So what is RealSeq? As I was saying, we focus on detecting RNA molecules. The way we funded the company is that we got seed money from the NIH. We got 2 grants from the NIH to develop technologies for the life sciences to detect RNA. That seed money from NIH allow us then to have innovative products and services to detect RNA molecules for life science research. And the key thing here is that part of my idea with science is that we should make it as simple as possible. So we want to have simple and accurate technologies. But the second goal of the company is that we want to take all of those RNA expertise and bring it back to diagnostics. So we want to have simple and rapid diagnostics that use RNA. And at the beginning, we want to focus in neglected diseases, orphan diseases, these kind of diseases that are endemic to some regions that no big pharma has focused before. We have been in business for 2 years. Last year, we already had $500,000 of revenue from our commercial services and products. And the problem that we're trying to tackle here is, as all of you know, unfortunately, COVID has shown that diagnostic testing in the US and in the world is not up to the game. We have been in this pandemic for almost 2 years, and testing is still a big problem, takes a long time. There's not sufficient testing, and there are many problems. And you can imagine, if that's for COVID that has changed everyone's life, you can imagine that for endemic diseases, like for example, there's valley fever, that is a fungal disease that just happens in a region in the Central Valley and in some places in Arizona, testing is still worst. There are no tests that they can use. It's really difficult for the clinics to diagnose that disease. But we believe that RNA should be the key for that diagnosis. The problem right now is that because no one has invested time and expertise in developing that, RNA diagnostics are high complexity tests. Things need to go to a highly qualified personnel with really expensive equipment. So that's the problem we want to tackle. We want to use RNA diagnostics for easy, fast diagnosis for orphan diseases. So our solution to that is what we call ribomarkers. So ribomarkers is just, we detect really small pieces of RNA that allow us to detect diseases, infectious diseases, much faster and much more accurate and sensitive than other technologies. What we're doing right now is a collaboration with the Valley Fever Institute at Kern Medical, and we're developing a test that allow us to diagnose valley fever, this fungal disease that I was talking about. So what we do is we take a serum sample for a patient, and we can help them to determine if they have a localized infection or a disseminated infection. And the RNA advantage is really clear against the DNA. So we want to use these ribomarkers for valley fever first, but then we want to develop a platform that can move into other technologies. So the next steps for the company will be, we really need to move into a Series A after having seed money from NIH. We're ready for the next step. We need to expand our team. We're fortunate enough that in Santa Cruz, UC Santa Cruz, the RNA experience is really vast. So there's a lot of people that we can hire. We want to be CLIA certified to be able to test for many diseases here in the Santa Cruz community. And we want to get our first diagnostic test to the market. And this will allow us to develop a platform that then we can expand into other diseases, neglected diseases, or whatever pandemic comes next. So we hope that in a couple of years, we're able to have 2 products for valley fever. As I was saying, we want to be able to diagnose if a patient has a localized or a disseminated disease. But we also think that RNA and testing in general needs to be point of need tests that you can do at home, that you can do on the field, that you can test anyone out there. And with that, that's my presentation. I would just like to thank everyone. Thanks, Doc, again.
Well, thank you. And, you know, the valley fever is something that's really close to us because it impacts agricultural workers, right?
Correct.
So we love our agricultural workers here. The other thing is that a lot of people know that at UCSC, they completed the Human Genome Project, and they know that, you know, the COVID virus was sequenced there as well. What I don't think a lot of people in Santa Cruz know is that there's this guy named Harry Noller, who was kind of the guy at UCSC and the world for RNA research. And it's everything that we're doing, the mRNA, everything that's been used to treat COVID is because of some of the work that Harry Noller has done, right? I mean, I'm sure you've probably met.
You're correct. I mean, UCSC, the RNA group at UCSC is world known. Harry Noller is the best one, but there are many researchers out there. It's one of the best places in the world to do RNA research.
Sure is. Well, again, thank you. And we really appreciate the work you're doing. Keep our ag workers safe and find those other sort of rare diseases and viruses out there. And let's treat them as quickly as we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, Melina, who do we have next?
Up next, we have Chris from Doorfinder.
All right, Chris.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining, and thank you, Doug, for having me tonight. My name is Christopher Duvall, and I'm the founder of Doorfinder.io. Doorfinder.io is a market data tool helping companies discover their next sale. So prior to starting Doorfinder, I was a location analytics consultant where I helped companies basically place their product around the world. During my experience as a consultant, I found that companies, especially within the consumer packaged goods industry, struggled mightily at getting the full, clear picture of a market. And specifically, companies didn't have the best resources to collect and analyze data about markets. Companies were incredibly inefficient. Research methods were really slow, and companies just did not have the ability to gather leads and get data at a large and fast and analyze it quickly. So I built Doorfinder to basically help companies find leads faster. After 2 years as a location analytics consultant, I decided to follow in my family's footsteps and pursue an entrepreneurial career. I left my job as a consultant and decided to attend the University of San Francisco, where I received my master's in entrepreneurship and launched Doorfinder. I built Doorfinder around two of my personal passions, which being an Eagle Scout, those two things are helping people and maps. So when building Doorfinder, I really wanted to focus around those two things, maps and people. So how Doorfinder does that is we specialize in helping companies really understand how to understand locations and specifically connecting companies to location analytics, helping companies understand what markets look like and helping companies do geographic information kind of systems. We also want to help companies understand market sizing. I really struggled mightily at this understanding markets and doing market sizing exercises as a consultant. So I wanted companies to have an easy way to do this. If you look at my platform on the right, you can actually see that I make it so easy that if you go look at Santa Cruz County, you can find that there's 83 grocery stores in the area. And we want to help companies understand their coverage across those. And lastly, the third one I really wanted to put in is demographics. I think something that companies should be interested in is demographics and where their product is being located, allocated, and what their demographics of their customers are and how to use that. And so when I built Doorfinder, I really built that as the backbone and helping companies understand the locations that they're selling in and finding markets that are similar. On top of that, what is our secret sauce at Doorfinder? Well, every single data point in our system, we have a store profile. And within each store profile, we're able to actually analyze our larger data set and do it quickly. So companies are able to find where the grocery stores are and what brands sell within a grocery store. We're trying to collect that data, create an organized data set and data list where our companies can go through, analyze, and get that information quickly. We're also building in tools to help companies research. If they find a store that they're interested in and they want to look at the area, they can go to Google, they can go to LinkedIn, they can go to Yellow Pages, Yelp. We want to connect users to research tools so they can do it faster. We also are building in tools. We've built in tools to allow companies to track product performance. How does a certain product sell at a different location? How did it sell last month? How is it going to sell in the future? We want companies to do that research quickly. And we want companies to also be able to take notes really fast and really efficiently. And so we built all of that within our platform, and it's all within a store profile where our companies can easily go into every single data point and understand that. So what is our initial target market? We're aiming to go after the CPG industry and specifically aim after food and beverage brands and their distributors. We found that there's a big miscommunication, either a lack of data that's being communicated between distributors and food brands, and as well as just a general, not a clear understanding of what data can exist. And this brings me to kind of my mission in developing Doorfinder in general. I wanted to develop a tool where companies had the ability to use geographic systems and use geographic analysis and use the power of it and get it. And so building Doorfinder, that is why I aimed for a map, and that is why I built it that way. I also wanted companies to have the accessibility to tools and data. I want companies to be able to, I want my grandma to be able to essentially figure out what brands are selling at what grocery store in her neighborhood. I want it to be so easy, and I want companies to be accessible to that data and also tools. Data ownership, I really believe in the power that every company should own their data and be able to get rewarded based off that. Within my platform, we're building systems to do that. And strategy to action, this is something I'm really passionate about, is I wanted, as a consultant, I found that it was so easy to just build a model and deliver it. I want to actually see companies take action. So when someone goes and looks at their demographics and they see we're selling in household income areas of 100,000 or more, I want companies to be able to go find those locations, find those points, and call them immediately. So to finish my presentation, I wanted to just, we've launched our product and we're looking for more partners. We want companies to join on top of our 6 partners that we currently have today. And we want companies to join and use our platform and get some user feedback and get it off the ground. So thank you for listening to my presentation. Please feel free to reach out to me if you're interested.
Thank you so much, Chris. I just want to, I did introduce you to LifeAid, right? I think they'd be a great company to.
Not yet, but I'd love to get their contact information and get on the phone with them.
Don't let me forget. All right. Remind me tomorrow. Yeah, let's get you guys connected because I think you have an excellent product for that. Thank you so much for your presentation and
thank you, Doug.
Have a good evening. Melina's going to now bring in the next, who do we have, Melina?
So we have Craig Wisniewski from Akkio. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, Craig.
Sure, it's Akkio, but no worries. Thanks so much for having us here. I really appreciate the opportunity to introduce all of you to Akkio. Let me get this going here. All right, so Akkio is a company that is making it ridiculously easy, almost effortless to use AI in all areas of your business, whether it's improving your top line, cutting your costs, or even driving your product. So the best companies in the world are winning with machine learning today. Whether it be the magic of the stickiness of TikTok or Tesla is essentially an AI company. These companies are driving their top line with AI. Facebook is doing a tremendous amount to even manage their costs with AI. They're doing it across all areas of their business, not just their product, but also their operations. But there's a problem. The rest of the companies in the world are falling behind. This is truly one of those situations where AI is going to be the most transformative technology to businesses across the world since the internet. But it's a rich getting richer type of situation because it's incredibly difficult to use, and it's incredibly difficult to an incredibly small number of people who know how to use it. And you need data scientists, and you need truly savvy software engineers to be able to do it. So Akkio is here to level the playing field. We want to put AI in the hands of all businesses to predict the future, automate operations, and accelerate growth. All right, here's where we're starting. We found that the best place for our sweet spot right now to start down that path is to start with data teams that are doing a little bit of machine learning, but can't do a lot. I'll tell you, most businesses, a huge number, I dare say most businesses right now look like this, where there's a couple, there's a data team that's formed, there's a couple data scientists, and they're working on a couple projects. Where Akkio can really help right now is in the unlocking that long tail of projects. So instead of doing 1, 2, or 3 machine learning projects, you can use Akkio. It's so effortless to use it that you can imagine doing the rest of the things in your stack that you wish you could do. All right, so what does Akkio does? What does Akkio do? It starts by automating a lot of the things that a data scientist would normally do in data engineering, all the way to machine learning ops. We look at all of those things and we try to automate it. Then next thing, we accelerate it. We do it fast. If something is easy and slow, it's no good. Things that are easy and accessible have to be fast. So we've created some technology here that's really remarkable. That most times, if you use the major ML tools that are available, it might take hours to train a model, where ours can train in less than a minute and provide an even better result. and we simplify it. We're designed for ease of use. So what can companies do with Akkio today? You can grow the top line, lead scoring, sales funnel optimization, churn prediction, things like that. You can cut costs and to automate operations, whether it's ticket routing, sentiment analysis, automatic routing of customer care. And of course, you can power a product on it to give a better customer experience. One sort of granular step down, the types of predictions, sort of, AI or machine learning, of course, is data in, predictions out. The type of predictions we can create today are classification problems. So you're trying to decide if something is in bucket A, B, C, or D, or if it's a yes, no on a result. We can do time series forecasting. So you can do a revenue forecast or a supply forecast. You can do time sequence. So you can do next best action. If you show someone this offer, then this offer, then this offer, what's the next best offer to show them later? And not on this slide yet, but we just created anomaly detection as well. So if you have like a machine running, it can watch that machine to tell if something happens, if something is going anomalously wrong with the machine or otherwise. Okay. Couple minutes left here. I'm going to try to be so bold as to do a live demo for y'all to show you just how accessible it is. This is the Akkio database. It's entirely cloud. This is interface. It's entirely cloud-based. I'm going to create a flow. Here you can decide where your data is coming from. If you have it in Salesforce or HubSpot, if you're dealing with CRM data, or Snowflake, if you have a data warehouse, or you could just upload a CSV if you want, which is what we're going to do here. Here I'm going to select the data set that I've already uploaded. This one's called Historic Conversions. This is a data set that is a collection of data about a direct mail campaign. Where you have information about a person and then ultimately whether or not they subscribed. This is 41,000 records. So to create a prediction model out of this, actually you can see it's already like, Akkio is already at work here, sort of detecting what the type of data is in each field that you upload. Okay, I'm gonna create a prediction and I'll scroll down here and just select predict. If you were doing a forecasting model, you'd click there. Then essentially you just select the field that you want to predict. In this case, it's whether someone subscribed or not. So this model's cached already, so I won't show you the 1-minute train it would have taken to create this. You can see a bunch of data about your prediction model. You can see the top fields that had the most predictive power, and you can see the the effect that it has. In this case, you can sort of densify the results of figuring out who's most likely to subscribe by 5x. And then to get to the output, a whole bunch of different ways you can do it. You can pipe it right back into your CRM. You can create a web app, or you can do it via API. All right. I'll stop it there. My call to action is we're just getting going. I would love for all of you who are doing machine learning projects to give us a try. We have a freemium tier. So go to Akkio.com to check it out, or contact me at Craig@akk.io to schedule a meeting.
Thank you, Craig. I could see a very important use of that here in Santa Cruz. If you could make a Apple Watch version of it that would tell you precisely when that next set is coming in for surfing, that would be pretty cool. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, Melina. Who's next?
Up next, we have Justin from Project Unicorn.
Hey everyone, let me just get my screen share going on right here. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Hey everyone, thanks for having me. My name is Justin Gia. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Project Unicorn, and we're all about making this whole process of connecting with great startups like the ones that we have here today so much easier. Every year, investors meet with tons of startup and probably write checks to less than 1% of them. Sure, we can argue that we're learning from those meetings, but most of that time is inevitably wasted. We have to agree at some point that the current process of sourcing early stage deals is a huge time sink. So you've probably had that pin in your stomach, get on a meeting to chat with a founder, and within the first 2 minutes, you realize that this meeting is not going to go anywhere. But you want to keep your reputation, so you sit there and nod, wait a few days, send a follow-up email saying you'll circle back. And all of this is really just a broken aspect of fundraising and sourcing deals. However, we all know that early stage deals are the best opportunity for anyone to get, which means that you need to be in there before everyone else does. Here at Unicorn, we're solving this problem by making the process of sourcing deals easier, better, faster, both for investors and for founders as well. This is where our platform comes in. The same way that TikTok and Instagram stories standardize content into short form videos, we're doing it for pitch meetings. You probably know this, but people my age are starting companies faster and cheaper than ever before. You probably also notice that people my age are incredibly visual. We live our entire lives online, and we have the ability to communicate with each other on platforms like Twitter. So why are we still using the same old-fashioned technology for fundraising like PowerPoints and emails? Of course, the next generation of founders are going to evolve and find better solutions. And that's why we're building Project Unicorn. Here's how it works. Imagine Tinder, but for startup founders and investors. Every single day, you can wake up to a new feed of startup pitch videos that match your specific filters. If you see a startup that you don't like, simply skip it and continue browsing. And this is exactly how you can discover 5 to 10 startups while waiting for your morning coffee. Or you can have a deep, meaningful conversation with the founder that you just met on a platform during your 30-minute lunch break. We're all about maximizing your time and making it easier to connect with the right person and filter out all that extra noise. This is some of the early traction we have so far. We have our Slack community of early stage founders and investors. Since May, we brought in 600 members and have founders from the likes of Y Combinator and Techstars, as well as investors from firms like Bessemer and Hustle Fund. This Slack is really cultivating relationships between people well before our product is even available. And it goes to show that people, especially founders, crave community because of how lonely entrepreneurship can be. We also have a wait list of 900 people that we can't wait to invite onto our platform. And that's the reason that I'm here presenting today, is we really want to satisfy this market demand quickly. So my call to action is we're raising a $500,000 pre-seed round right now at a $5 million cap. So if there's any investors in the audience, would love to chat. And we're also looking to hire software developers that have experience in React Native and Firebase. And finally, for all the other founders that are here today, if you're fundraising, please reach out. We have a ton of great investors, and whether they're VCs or angels or a ton of operators, we'd love to connect you guys and prove that Project Unicorn is the best place for founders. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Justin. And, you know, we're launching the 4th cohort of our accelerator. So we should definitely talk about this really coming up soon. Also, I don't know, are you going to have to change the name of your company? Because I hear that unicorns are out and now there's dragons.
Yeah, well, there's zebras too. So maybe we got to start a zoo. So
All right.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you. And Melina, who do we have?
And last but not least, we have Daniel from Waygate Technologies.
Yay.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. Last but not least here, try not to take too much of your time. So I'm from Waygate Technologies. Let me introduce myself real quick. I was a Navy brat, lived in 19 states, a bunch of different countries. I ended up joining the Marine Corps after college. I spent 10 years on active duty, did 5 deployments, got out in 2017 to give my family some stability. Took a job with GE and worked in a rotational leadership program in Houston, Texas. That wasn't cutting it. The surf was not good enough in Texas, so I decided to take a job out here in Santa Cruz. I started a facility for my company. and moved here about 3 years ago. I love to surf. I'm a member of the board of the Veteran Surf Alliance. I have a wife, a couple dogs, a couple cats, 4 chickens, and I live in Aptos. As you can see the photos, there's me in Afghanistan. In the upper left is a 25-year-old platoon commander. Lower left, they're protecting President Obama when I was in forced reconnaissance in Myanmar. And there's me surfing the local, I think that's 2-6 there. So Waygate Technologies. We're a business unit of Baker Hughes, and we used to be called GE Inspection Technologies until they divested from the company. We're an OEM for industrial CT X-ray products and services with a presence in Silicon Valley. We invest heavily in innovative non-destructive testing products and services to include ADR using AI, at-line X-ray inspection using robots, archival software for large data file inspection data, and we also invest in new machine innovations for our primary components of our X-ray machines. The reason why we exist is really to help innovators push the limits by providing quality assurance in their products from R&D phase when they're developing something all the way through production and into failure analysis. So the problems we solve really span across all of these primary segments that you see before you. Specifically in the Silicon Valley area, we work with a lot of aerospace, from private space companies to NASA. We also work with a lot of AI automotive companies, medical devices, additive manufacturing, electric vehicles on the air side or the land side, and complex electronics. Some examples would be parts going to space that are additively created, 3D printed, and we need to determine porosity or voiding, which would compromise the main structure and make, say, a satellite fail. Solder joints, wire bins, other connection determinations on a printed circuit board going to space or in an aircraft, and also electric vertical takeoff and landing or aviation industry parts that are critical for flight, such as finding cracks, inspection welds, and other structural integrity aspects. And that takes me to batteries. So we can assist with lithium-ion battery inspection and other alternative battery types out there as well, from small cells that you can see in the upper left to full battery packs in the lower left. We have solutions that find flaws and defects that you can see down the center. And on the right side, you see some of the actual scan, the X-ray scan data. In the lower right, you can see a sub-micron level battery and some of the colored overhangs that you don't want to see in a lithium-ion battery. In electronics, we can gain sub-micron level visual of multi-stack PCBs and semiconductors. In the pictures, you can see that we can do a porosity analysis in the center there. We can find and look around at the wire bond connections, and we can do measurements of small intricate details like you can see at the bottom there at the 8-micron level. So to ensure that we can assist with X-ray for any parts out there, we have highly customizable options for various industries. So from the small printed circuit board level of 180 kV machine in the lower left to, say, a 9 MeV machine that can inspect 2-meter, 2,000-pound rocket parts that were additively created, we have a solution. So we have a big portfolio of machines out there. So I've only scratched the surface on my business, but I just want to tell you that if you're interested, if you'd like to get something inspected, or if you'd like to take a tour of what I have, please contact me. I've got a lab in San Jose with X-ray machines. I can do demonstrations. I can take your sample, X-ray it, and let you know what we can find on the inside to help you iterate and make that thing better or find potential defects in there. Please contact me. My email's there, daniel.redmond@bakerhughes.com. I'm on LinkedIn. And my company has a YouTube and a LinkedIn as well. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. We're sure glad to have you here in Santa Cruz. And I know we can't name any names, but if, we know your customers are any company that has a smartphone where there's a lithium battery in it. And we know that aircraft types of companies are your customers. So
we seem to have a lot of those around here. So yes.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, if you talk to One Wheel, there'd be another good one to talk to. There are so many. If any of our attendees have ideas of who to introduce Daniel to, man, please reach out to him or through either with the information that was just given or through Santa Cruz Works. We'll connect you. So thank you again, Daniel. It's great to have you and family in Santa Cruz, Aptos Santa Cruz, and we're gonna end this event pretty quick now. So here we go. I want to remind everybody again of the upcoming events. We've got on the 9th, Zendesk with best practices. We've got the Startup Investment and Community Capital Expo. Santa Cruz Accelerates launch party. You won't want to miss that. It's going to be really fun. Of course, the events with Santa Cruz County Office of Education, Dave Evans, Designing Your Life, Designing Your Career. Please join us and stay tuned. Look in our newsletter tomorrow and you'll find out about a lot of these. And with that, I think Melina, Matthew, are we ready to check out?
I think it's done.
All righty. Thank you, everybody. It's been a wonderful evening. Thank you.